to a family business podcast. We are excited to share the room with you today. What did we learn about?
Listen to him. He's taking that to the next level.
Yes,
you hear how he's dragging it out? I hope you like that, Peter Hansen, if you're listening right now.
Dramatics.
All right, guys. What is the number one question or objection we get from buyers and sellers right now?
Is it the right time to buy or sell?
Or how about, should we just wait till spring? I mean, we're coming up with the holidays and winter. So why don't we tackle that one a little bit?
Okay, so I'll start. We just met with clients on Saturday, and their concern was, is it too late in the year to sell? We're running into the holidays. What should we do? Well, here's what happened was they really liked the house that they had looked at and knew that they wanted to write an offer, but just wanted reassurance from us that now was the right time to sell their home. And my response was that when you get into the later times of the year, you do have less activity in general, but the buyers who are out are very serious. And with rates dropping, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we're not going to have a crazy slowdown like we normally do towards the end of the year. And also, if you want to buy that house that they wanted, why not do it right now? Because when the rates drop even more in the spring, guess what? That house is going to be more expensive, and we'd probably be in a multiple offer situation. In PT, October 12th through, I can't remember.
The 18th.
The 18th.
Best time to buy.
Bingo.
So basically when this airs this Friday, you have 3 more days for the best week to buy. So call us after you hear this podcast if you're a buyer or seller. And if you're an agent, call your buyers because they still have a few more days for the best week to buy. Why is it the best week to buy, PT? Or sell?
Because
it's the best time.
Because one of the podcasts we listened to said so.
No,
no, it's
no. There's a survey and stats from Realtor.com. People, we reviewed this.
There's stats that people are smarter than us, and they know the algorithm and all that stuff. But here's another question too: when you get asked, should we be concerned about the holidays? How many months? And this is a question for everybody out there: is how many months does a realtor work? It should be 12, right?
Yeah.
And you should be able to adapt throughout every season that you work in. You should have a game plan for different scenarios that you have to sell potentially in. There might be someone that just has to sell during the holidays, right? So what is your game plan? How does that differ for anybody else that gives that objection at the end of the day?
Yeah, well, and it is, I mean, to that point, PT, it's very true. We see a lot of relocation clients that, companies tend to make some of those transitions or changes towards the end of the year, right? Q4, start of the new year. And so you're seeing that, right? So going back to what you just said in talking to those sellers, Brad, you're going to have people that aren't just looking to buy. If they're getting transferred for a job or relocation, they have to buy, right? So the other thing is if there's people that, if you have sellers that have that mindset of, I'm just going to wait till spring, because, there won't be as many people out there. Well, there's less choices for those people to buy, which makes your house more desirable. So there's the, and to your point, 100%, if we were in the crazy, if the rates continue to drop, which they're saying they are, and then you take into the fact that we still don't have a balanced inventory, as a buyer, you're paying more for your home. So, I mean, the best time, which we say all the time, to buy or sell is when it's right for you.
Well, yeah. And I always say right now. And that's if you want to
right buy. Now. There's no tomorrow.
But
any Van Halen fans out there?
So, they had asked, is it okay to buy right now? And my response is that I know right now it's a good market. In the spring, do I anticipate it being a good market? Yeah. But can I guarantee it? No. We never know what's going to happen. So as of right now, I can guarantee you it's a very good real estate market. I can't guarantee that in the spring. So that was one of their that was one of the topics that they needed.
Bold statement.
That they wanted to hear was that even though we're going into the cooler time of the year, cooler as in weather-wise, that their house was going to sell. And they're in a price range. They're in the 300s in Davenport, which is a very hot price point. And I can tell you right now, it's a great market.
It's a great conversation too, that just revolves around this one specific client. But, I think we were stuck in a rut too for a while with the market being so hot, was that, sellers would ask, hey, do we need to do anything to our house? And I think there was a long time where we're like, no, you just put it on the market and let the new buyers make that choice.
Within reason.
Well,
if you smell like cat pee, maybe get rid of that.
Yeah, exactly. But more of the minor cosmetic things, right? And so now I think there's more emphasis on, okay, just what Brad said. Okay, so there's going to be less options for buyers. So how do we position ourselves to be that best option? It might be installing some carpet. It might be painting a couple rooms. It might be removing some, just clutter. So making sure that your market prep is still in line with the current market that you're heading into.
Agree with that. And I mean, as an example, that house, they've got young kids, and they knew that the carpet needed replaced, but they still asked the question. And that goes back to my Floyd Wickman days, Ed Escobar. He, see, I remember.
We're pulling out some ink.
He said, when they asked the question, do you think we should replace the carpet? I would. And that they know, they just need to hear it from you.
Correct.
Well, and it goes back to what you just said, PT. I mean, that's a minor thing that someone can do that's really gonna, especially, okay, let's go back to the philosophy that we just talked about. If you have a relocation buyer and they have to buy a home and they want to get in that home before the holidays or Christmas or the snow flies, which here tends to be not till January-ish, the last thing they want to do is buy a house that then they have to wait to move into because they have to replace carpet. So it's like, not only are you making your house value stand out on the higher end of the spectrum if you're doing those little things, you're also making your house just more appealable to buyers because it's move-in ready. So,
exactly.
I mean, I've never understood. I mean, this is really funny on when, and maybe this is why you're making that bold guarantee, Brad. Every single time that we've purchased a home, we've talked about this before. Our very first home, we closed on the last day of the year of
Didn't I tell them that?
2006. Yep.
You did.
When we bought our investment vacation family home up north, we closed on that on November 15th. And when we bought the house that we're currently in,
October 1st.
I think it was October 8th, but maybe, whatever. Maybe, no, it was October 1st because we listed our old house October 8th. You're right. And then when did you, I'm trying to think. I bought my first condo before I knew Brad, back when I was a single woman, in like February. And I think, when did you buy your first house?
It was during the summer.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah. But regardless, clearly we must think it's a good time to buy and sell. We do it all during this time period.
Well, and it all, at the end of the day, comes down to the conversations you're having with your clients, right? Everyone's mindset, nobody wants to move in the winter, right? But if they're, they bring the objection, I'm waiting till the spring, you obviously outline the risks that, lie within potentially waiting. But you also outline the potential advantages as a buyer too, right? There's a potential for less competition on a property. So you have to work your way through to these, here are your advantages potentially, what you're having, especially in our market. Our first-time home buyers are, it's still a bloodbath Shark Tank, right?
Uh-huh.
And they need every advantage they can get. So if you walk through and say, hey, I'm willing to walk by you throughout this entire winter, if you're willing to go out in some cold weather, which the majority of people are here, then, let's create a game plan for you to be successful in the winter and maybe wind up with something maybe even better you would have had in the fall.
Exactly.
Right. In going back to what we talked about, rates are at an all-time low for this year. That's where they're at, and they're continuing to trend down.
I loved how you just phrased that, all-time low for this year.
Well, it's true. We're in the post-pandemic era, guys. But the other thing is like, so I guess what I'm hearing from PT though is if you're a realtor and you want to have your best fourth quarter ever, I suggest you go buy yourself some nice winter boots that are easy to slip on and off, and a nice hat, and coat and scarves and mittens, and get to getting, I guess. Isn't that what they say?
Well, but it's so true though. But Brad will, during our sales meeting last week, emphasize, it's so easy for this time of year to kind of just close up shack and hunker down like everybody else. But the opportunities out there, at the end of the day, in my opinion, it is just less competitive across the board for buyers, for 100%. Agents, for all of us, and there's no reason not to be taking advantage of it.
And I would not say the market has, at all. It's like, a lot of people nationally, you really hear, oh, it's really bad out there. still really good here. And like you said, PT, that first time home buyer price range under 400, which is crazy.
Isn't that crazy to say that?
Is hot. I mean, it's really, really good. So you have to keep it in perspective, and everything is obviously regionally based, right? So the market here might be better than it is in, Chicago, or better than it is in New York. I mean, they're two different markets. So you have to look at your local market, and we're very lucky here that we don't have those big highs and lows.
Well, and it's so funny to get pinholed on your local market, but you turn around and then you look at, for example, Mason, who's down in Florida. I mean, their season's turning around now, right? So it's hard to preach all at one time to one specific market. But if you feel that you're in that specific spot of, it's the holidays. I think generally around the nation, there's that feeling of there's a distraction of there being the holidays. So when we talk about these advantages that are in front of you, that's what it revolves around. Not just the cold weather we have to deal with.
Right. And the other thing, two things I was thinking about while we were sitting here is, number one is going back to what we talked about if you're listing your home right now, there may not be as many buyers, but they're serious buyers. Right?
Oh, for sure.
And if you're a buyer, I think it's really important, especially in our market. I mean, yes, what we mean by you're going to get a better deal is that you're not going to compete with as many people, which doesn't drive the price up as high. Plus, your rate is lower right now than it has been historically all year long. So those are things you need to really weigh. And I mean, that's where, there is a cost to waiting. Like when you get into, let's face it. I mean, there's less inventory January and February for sure. People typically start putting their houses on the market end of February, beginning March here, as long as it's not frozen tundra. And so if you're waiting, who knows what the rate, I mean, that's 6 months from now. Who knows what the rates are going to be?
You're 100% right. And like, who's to say the rates? I mean, typically how it goes, the rates go down, the prices go up, right? So, but to your point, first-time home buyers, not to scare people away, but I would say now, the week of October 12th through the 18th, there is a little bit of evidence. Actually, we wrote that offer on the 10th, or the 11th.
Same thing.
But they were able to get that home at the asking price, and they didn't have to go into a ton of offers and all this competition. Whereas that house maybe in the spring would have had a bunch of offers, and they would have had to go way over. So they really did get a good value due to buying a home now and not waiting up until the spring. Like I said, I don't have a crystal ball, but I would imagine next spring will be crazy.
Well, and as a buyer too, we're used to, yes, you might have inspections, but you're afraid to ask for anything or anything out of like what's required by the contract in our marketplace, which is material defects. Well, again, if there's less competition right now, you maybe have a little bit more room to work through some of those things that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And again, as a seller, it's like, I mean, you can't have your seller thinking, oh, well, okay, well, I'm not going to get as much money because there's not as many buyers. Well, we're going to reverse that to, again, you're probably buying something else, so you're going to make it up on the other side of it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the best time to buy or sell is when it's the right time for you. And the other thing that I was going to say is that I totally lost my train of thought. So, PT, it looks like you have something to say. I'm sure it'll come back to me here.
Well, it's all relative now. We are talking more of on a month-to-month basis, but even still, right now, the time is of the essence. Like with this particular transaction we're talking about, there was some other interest out there, and so at some point, yes, you don't want to rush your decision, but also the time is of the essence, and the quicker that you make a decision, not only does that as a buyer, it makes the seller, think that you're particularly interested, which also works on your side as well. That they might be open to more, inspection contingencies, just different things like that. You have a little bit more buyer power. The quicker that you make a decision, because that most likely means that you're very interested, right? So the time is of the essence. There's still times where we show a house the first day and we get a notification that night or the next morning that they're in a multiple offer situation.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is the time of the essence in a month thought process, but also if you're actively looking as well.
Well, and you just brought up a good point about when you have a buyer that looks at a house one time and they make an offer. If I'm the seller or I'm that agent, I'm pretty confident that they really, really like my house. So
not the person that comes back through 3 times.
There you go. That
makes you a little nervous.
And not that there's anything wrong with that.
But it makes you nervous.
It does. Or the ridiculous questions. Like we just had one recently where they were asking questions that were out of the ordinary. And, probably hindsight 2020, maybe we shouldn't have taken the offer, and we did, and it blew up over something that wasn't even really relevant. And then we ended up getting another offer immediately, and the new buyers have been great, and they've been very reasonable, but they looked at the house one time and they bought the house, unlike the last one that looked at it at least 2 times and probably asked 100 questions, well, not quite 100 questions, but at least 20 stupid questions.
Stupid
and
questions. Wow.
you just knew deep down that probably wasn't the right buyer. But we were getting into the time of the year where this is a little bit higher price listing, where it's not quite as crazy of a market. So we're like, maybe that is a buyer. But as I always say, deals will blow up from time to time, but you just try to, on the front end of them, you just want to look at them as is this the right buyer or not? And that was marginal. But it was what we had going on at the time. And guess what? Like I just said, we got another offer, and they've been great buyers.
Well, and going back to the client we were talking about before, I mean, as an agent, I mean, I'm sure everybody has these people. Like, I mean, those particular buyers had looked at several properties. They've been looking for a while. Yeah. Literally everything they would look at would have, like, okay, looked at it now. Okay, here's your notice of when offers are due. And they all had like 10 offers on them. It went well over the list price. So again, it's just for them, it's working out perfectly for them and what's best for them. And waiting for them, I don't think would be a benefit. I think, again, their house is going to sell for a great price regardless, because it's a great house and a great price point. And they're going to do the things that, we've recommended to make sure that they're going to get their top dollar for it. And they're also not fighting over their purchase home, and they're very happy and excited about it. So those are things. So just something, let's chat about this. So if you're an agent and you have a seller that is, questioning, if they should going on the market now, I think these are all things that, obviously every market's different, but I think you need to know your market stats. You need to know the inventory. You need to know what's going on in your market. But the other thing is that, just from words of advice, because everyone's always worried about the holidays. Okay, first and foremost, do not have pictures that are taken of your properties with Halloween decorations, Thanksgiving decorations if you celebrate it, Christmas, New Year's, whatever you celebrate. Those should not be in your pictures. So if you have someone who's looking at going on the market, it's not that they can't decorate, but it's get that house prepped, get those pictures taken, then let them decorate. That's the last thing you want to do, because let me tell you something. If that house doesn't sell, come February, those Christmas pictures are just going to look a little out of place.
Or worse yet, the Halloween picture.
It's so easy for someone to lose track of their true intention. Yeah. So when they're flicking through photos and it's in February and they're like, why is there a skeleton in the front? Right?
Yeah.
So you try to do your best to, we always say, we want the pictures to look better than when they walk through the property. So that is part of it, right? And you need to make people focus on what the intention is, what they're doing. They're looking at the photos. And pictures are always the most important part of a marketing prep piece. But now it's now than ever, right? I mean, in our area, it's cold out. So like we always say,
not
if they're
today,
looking,
78.
Well, once we get there, right?
Sorry, 72.
Yeah. But once we get to the time of the year where it's colder out, it's snowing, and if they send that showing request over, they are very serious, probably because you produced great photos. That's what they're going to rely on just now and ever. So
yeah, you got to have your property marketed appropriately. That's for sure.
100%.
And ready. So going into the winter months, just think about some of those things like snow. I mean, yeah, that is something that you're going to have to do. But again, you're typically not clearing the snow path. If we get snow before January, it is not that common.
You never know.
Everybody doesn't understand this, but it's not that common here to have like significant snowfall until January. I'm probably jinxing us right now, and we're going to talk about this and blame me for all of this, but
we've had it in December before, but not you're right. And that seems to be, like I even talked about with these clients, January is the worst month. I mean, that's the month where everybody doesn't want to go out of their house. It's cold, but like you both said, if they're looking at houses in January, they're really serious.
And here's the deal too. I mean, everyone's mindset is set on that when the holidays are, everyone's traveling. Well, Yes, that's correct. People are also coming here, right?
Yeah.
And you never know when that relocation client or just a family member that's looking to move back, the mom and dad or the uncle, grandma, and grandpa might just be like, oh, look at this house that just came up. Let's go take a look at it. We have time this afternoon, right? You just never, ever know.
Yeah, and that is such a good point, PT, because I cannot tell you over the years how many times, whether it is a significant event in the Quad Cities, like our VIX festival or whatever it is, or it's a holiday, where you get those phone calls and it is people that maybe they're thinking about moving back next spring or summer and they're here for the family visit. And that's when they're starting to educate themselves a little bit on the market and look at some of those properties. So again, as an agent, I mean, this is the time to be answering your phone and, building that database and nurturing those clients. And also too, if you have buyers that are thinking, okay, I mean, we have a first time home buyer right now that's just kind of starting the process. Okay, well, now is a good time. Okay, he's talking to his lender to get everything in line for that. Okay, this is also a time when, since it's not, I get the first time market's still crazy in our market, but it's not as crazy. Like, you can actually look at some properties to determine what's important to you and what you want. And as an agent, that's your job, is to educate your buyers on the marketplace. So take this time to do that. If you're not as crazy busy, it gives you more time to spend with your clients rather than running from one place to the next and, going a little crazy sometimes.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
What is that thought process? The one house that is exactly what I can't think of.
Oh, what's the word? This is a Sharon.
Yes.
This is a Sharon Sharot. Catalyst home. The catalyst home. Yeah.
So
find their catalyst home.
For example, like if you're sitting here with your clients and they're giving you all of the different criteria that they need within a home, and they're still kind of working through, if it's the right one, then maybe we'll do something. Well, find that home that they're looking for and just be like, hey, let's just go take a look. It would help me when, I'm looking for you. And then the moment you get them in that property, that just will pay for you in tenfold down the road. It just gets the brain running and
no question. Not remember, but like one of the clients who we're working with right now, we met with them a month ago and they're like, well, we probably don't want to buy anything up until the spring. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, agents, if they're meeting with you, they are going to buy the next house that meets their needs.
Everyone's so busy, if you're getting time from people, that means that there's some type of interest or need that they're willing to give you your time, and that should mean something. At the end of the day.
Well, and at the end of the day, if they're not happy in the home they're in, they're going to continue to look for other homes. So again, going back to we're another perfect example of that. Mm-hmm. Both of the homes that we bought as primary residence, actually same with our investment property up north. We weren't like, okay, we're ready to buy next week. We were just looking and thinking about buying in the future. And we ended up buying homes. Yeah.
Once they've talked to their lender and they know where they're comfortable, they're ready to buy.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on this? I guess for me, I think the biggest thing I would say is that right now, whether it's buyers, sellers, agents, the people that are winning are the people that are adapting to the current environment and the current market. That's my piece of advice. So adapt, right? Adapt. Just have those talking points ready for your sellers and your buyers so that you can help them, because at the end of the day, they're coming to you as the expert. It's your job to know the market and know when is the best time for them personally to make that leap to buy or to sell a home. And if you're an agent, if you are a little bit slower, whatever you're doing now is your paycheck for December, January, February.
Yeah.
So double down on your database, nurturing and getting to know the market so that you can have educated conversations.
Right now is a great opportunity for all agents, as I said at the meeting last Tuesday, those of you that aren't in our office. Right now is
probably a lot of you.
Yeah. Right now is a great opportunity to be able to prospect and to get buyers for the winter when everybody else is celebrating the holidays, which I really think is great, but it's a great opportunity to pick up clients right now.
It comes with conversations. Make your conversations, talk to people, educate people, because that's our job, is to educate and hear your advantages right now in this particular market. Know your stuff.
That's right. If there's any way we can help, reach out. You know where to find us, I think, right here.
Yes, I do.
Wherever the snow is.
PT, we're jinxing us right now. All right. Peace.
Peace out.